Hi everybody, I'm Jack from this Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you guys had a nice weekend. It was a very pleasant one and relaxing down in my neck of the woods. Um, Today we're going to talk a little bit about going from the standard American diet to raw vegan and what I would consider are just a few tips and a little bit of my opinion on the quickest way to get there. Now, if you've watched my channel before, you know I'm not like one of these raw is law type people, and I don't look at being raw vegan as the end-all be-all of a healthy lifestyle. But I know a lot of people. I do see a lot of value in it. I eat mostly raw vegan, and I just think what's happening is a lot of people want to do it, and they're kind of getting psyched out and getting some uh, not necessarily incorrect information, but like I say, they're getting psyched out. They're letting people get into their heads and give them limits and boundaries by telling them that this is going to be so hard and you're going to encounter this and that. And I think a lot of times that stays in people's heads. Um, I don't know. I like to have. I'm somewhere in between. Like now, where I say that, like there are no boundaries, and I don't consider this lifestyle very hard. I don't consider going from a poor way of eating to a healthy way of eating all that hard. Um, but also too, I got to give you some reality here. I think a lot of people just think all of a sudden, like, they start something, whether it's a diet, a new fitness program, whatever new regime, people start it, or smoking, or one of those things. It's a good thing. It's like you smoke a cigarette and you decide, okay, I'm going to stop smoking. And then you stop, and you probably stop a few days, or maybe depending on how bad the habit is, it happens the first day or the second day, and you get that, something happens, and you really want that cigarette. Well, I think what I kind of figured out the last time I quit smoking, and I haven't smoked since, is there's going to be some pain, whether it's psychological, physical, or whatever. There's going to come a time where you really want that cigarette. There's going to come a time where you really want that old food that you've eaten. And you're just going to have to go through a little bit of the discomfort. It's whether you want to call it detox, discomfort, or whatever. When you're changing from your lifestyle, when you're changing habits that have been ingrained in you your whole life, there's going to be a bit of discomfort. For some people, there may be a lot of discomfort, depending on how much disease they have in their body, and just depending on the individual makeup. But what I want to say is just basically common sense. There's no like quick fixes here, so I hope nobody jumped on this video thinking there's going to be like a list of do A, B, C, D, and E, and you'll be a raw vegan. I think there's a lot of little things that go into it. Number one is making a plan. Number two is having a journal, something that I never did. Because you need to really, if you're going to do it, you need to be serious. And like here, like I say, I don't know how many people will try to, fast track it, but you can if you want to. Now, I'm not necessarily telling you to go out there and try to do this thing the quickest way possible. I'm just saying there's a few things I think you can do that'll make your transition easier and that will get you to point B in the quickest amount of time. And one of the biggest things is, like I say, making a plan, writing it down so you're seeing exactly. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. You're seeing what you take in every day. So you can't there's not going to be any fogginess about 2 weeks down the road. You're going to be like, well, I'm not sure. I think I was eating this, but I'm not sure. Blah blah blah. And one of the big number two, you got to stop having these. When you make your plan, everybody's plan might be different, but one thing I would greatly advise is get rid of this cheat day mentality. Get rid of this reward mentality, because to me it's just putting the drugs back in your system. It's like you've gotten off of heroin, you've gotten off of meth or something, and you wouldn't do it with drugs, would you? Like, wow, I've been clean and sober for 2 months, I'm going to boot a little H. I can do it. It's not going to hurt me. No, that you get that taste right back in you. So you have to, you got to let that stuff go. If you want to let it go for good, or it's not, all you do every time you reintroduce something that you don't like that's a toxin, like a drug or a bad food, or the toys, as Tanny Rawls says, with with whatever chemicals and shit they put in there to make it more like crack to us, and more appealing. Every time you've weaned your way away from that stuff and it's gotten out of your body to a large extent and it's detox, and you reintroduce that, it just spins things up and it starts it all over. And maybe it doesn't take you, I don't want to say it takes you back to the very beginning and it negates everything you've done, but it gives you that taste. It puts that taste back in you, and then you kind of have to detox, wean yourself away from that all over again. Just checking out my notes here to make sure I'm not going to miss anything that I had in mind there. Yeah, that would be one big thing is people seem to want to go, well, a lot of people go one step forward, one step back, but even in the best case scenario, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You're always dancing back and forth. I just don't see that. I like this. Why not always be moving forward? Slow down a little bit. Let off the gas a little bit. I'd rather see you moving slower, but always going forward, and never having to backtrack. Because backtrack is just really a waste of time. That kind of stuff always frustrates me. Now, like I say, I'm not going to give you a list for like, okay, do this, and this, and you will be raw vegan. But it's not like, I just really want to kind of open your mind to the possibilities. So I'll just throw some scenarios out there. Like I say, I just want you to break free from those boundaries and those limitations. Sometimes it's a good thing to network and talk to other people, especially when we don't have others doing this lifestyle in our life. But also there can be negative aspects to it, because people can hold you back by putting things in your head like that you can't do this. Why can't I do this? I don't like to be told I can't do something. Okay, let's just say right now I'm going to spit a little bit, just a little free flow here. You're the worst, you're eating the worst of the worst sad diet out there, Well, maybe not the worst of the worst. If you're eating the worst of the worst and you have meat with every meal, yeah, I might have to start at a different spot for you. But let's just say your average person, that eats meat and dairy. I really think, without any serious detox symptoms or without freaking out, I think you probably stop meat almost immediately. Like I say, when I used to have my periods where I'd been living really bad and I needed to clean out, I wasn't doing the vegan thing back in those days or the raw thing, but my natural instincts always took me to mostly eliminating meat. I would cut way back on meat. Meat would go from, large amounts to about 3 times a week in small portions. Lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of fresh food. So instinctively, I think somehow, somewhere in us, that this lifestyle is instinctively down there once we dig deep enough. Because I had those natural tendencies in the beginning. So I think if you really wanted to fast track it, you could probably drop meat. You could probably drop 80+% of the animal products, bam, right off the bat like that. And I would just say, start there. Start eliminating those animal products more and more and more and more. And once you've eliminated to this level, never add more back in. Always be going less. Eliminate the processed food. Just eating more fresh fruits and vegetables, almost to the point of just stuffing yourself. Now, yeah, I don't mean that in an overall way. I'm just in that sense. I'm not a stuffer that says you need to eat 4,000 calories a day, but say for instance in the mornings you just started trying to make the change and you're working towards being raw vegan and you're starting your transition. During the day, eating as much fruit and vegetables as possible, just stuffing that fruit in, is going to keep you from being hungry so much, and it's going to keep you from having those cravings and temptations for the bad stuff that you have eaten in the past. And you just start systematically working your way down the line. But once you go to a level, you don't go back. That is super important. If you can just remember that, you never go backwards. Even if you got to hold par for a while, even if you are not moving forward, I would almost like to rather see you inch, but just don't go backwards. Once you get things purged out of your system, leave them out of your system. But you know, like I say, to finish up, this is more just to give you a little encouragement to break through. I mean, in 10 minutes, 12 minutes, I can only do so much. I could give you some more specifics if you wanted to ever talk one-on-one, but it can be done. It can be done. Like I say, I'm the example here. I'm the example here of a total screw up that didn't put a whole lot of effort into this. If I'd have even, God almighty, if I'd have even just had like a little bit of a head start that I'm seeing, like I guess what I'm getting at is, if you were in any of the groups with me, or if you're around with me networking online, there's so much information. There's so much good stuff out there. Like, I feel like, God, these people, they've got it so easy. I didn't have this stuff. I hadn't gotten into the Facebook groups, and I hadn't found any good support systems yet. So there's so many good out there. Take advantage of them, but just don't let anybody psych you out on this. If you want to do it, you can do it. It's just a matter of, I'll leave you with this. I just say, my biggest problem, and I guess we can all be different, so I can't say like, come on, get with the program. You know, my problem, you might say, oh, well, that's easy. To me, anything that you don't do, like to make a new habit, anything you don't do is easy. When people talk about, well, I tried to be raw vegan today. Well, to try to be raw, how do you try to be raw vegan? You don't turn on the stove. I mean, it's easy for me to not do something now. Where my little trick is when I'm trying to start a habit, like, you know, when I'm trying to do yoga every day at home. There I have to actually drag myself to do a physical something. With raw vegan, you're just not doing something, if that makes any sense anyhow. Hope you got a little something out of this one. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Hope you'll subscribe to the channel, and don't ever let anybody put limitations on you. This is the strongest resource you have right up here, and yeah, don't let anybody else pollute it. Peace.